So good afternoon, everybody. Just depending on where you are. Good afternoon. Good morning. Thank you guys for joining me for this financial workshop presentation. We're going to be doing these 2 times out the week. On Tuesdays, we have this workshop, and I'll be hosting and I'll be teaching. And on Thursdays, we have Cash Flow Thursdays, which will also be hosted by me and taught by me. My name is Malik East, and I am a financial agent with True Choice Financial Group. Now, within that group is my business, my organization that I founded back in 2020, which is Seven Band Incorporated. Now, today I'm excited, man. I'm pumped. I'm excited to be sharing with you all some of my experience and insights on money, wealth, and stability. That way, I give you a little peek into my world, and that way I give you all a peek into my world that I've experienced so far. And with faith that it'll open your eyes to the possibilities of a world where you want to live in, and of a world that you want to live in. Okay. So before I dive into this presentation, I don't want anybody to be worried about this being some sales presentation or you just having to buy anything. Okay, because today's not about that. All right. Today's not about that, okay? This workshop is relevant to two groups of people, just two groups of people, okay? You either an entrepreneur or you either an entrepreneur business owner or you're an active saver. Because if you're an entrepreneur, you're probably looking to open up a business or start a business, not really looking for a handout, not really looking to go into debt just to get your business off the ground. All right. Or you're just looking for capital so that you can fund your business with the different operations that you'll have and to put money towards. You either an active saver, you're saving for retirement. You don't want to retire at age 70. You just like me. You don't want to retire at age 70 years old. Okay. Of course not. Nobody want to do that. So you probably saving for a business, saving for your kids' education, or you just have a safety net, or just to have a safety net for your family so you just financially stable. You feel me? So if you belong in any of these groups of people, then you're in the right place. You're watching the right video. All right. Or you're listening to the right video because if you're listening to this while you're at work, while you're driving or anything like that, you ain't even got to watch it. You can just listen. You know what I'm saying? So you're listening to the right audio. All right. So just a brief background on who I am, how I got started in the financial service industry. So I started my company in 2020, just out of the desire to want to teach and help other people about financial stability, a way to live the life that they want to live on their own terms, right? So I'm coming from a marching band background, didn't didn't dabble in none of that and in finance or anything. I was just marching band student. I did band for over 10 years. That inspired my company name, which is Seven Band Incorporated. All right. So after the years after I graduated college, left the band world, got married, moved in with my college sweetheart, I was introduced to the financial industry. Now you gotta know God had to play a part in that. I'm just saying because we don't learn how money work. We don't learn about money. We don't learn about it in college. We don't learn about it in school. Some of us probably don't even learn about it at home. I didn't, but yet I was introduced to it a few months after college. And I even went and visited Kentucky, Baltimore, Maryland, shook hands, rubbed shoulders with the leaders, rubbed shoulders with millionaires, family men, God men. I saw their organizations, I saw their businesses, and they businesses looked like a band program in my eyes, but they were running a business. Like I can even remember the little shout outs they had. Like each organization will have their own saying. For example, like the band to another band across the field. I don't know if you guys know, but the band, like in the band world, like we be very competitive. And like I remember like you will probably hear one band tell another band to like, I don't know, go home. Go home. And they'll probably just be just telling them just to go home or you're trash. You know what I'm saying? Just, just trash talking them or whatever. But it's all love that just the competition that culture have. And so I saw the same similar culture, but just in a different form, right? It was just in a different form than the band world. So I quickly developed an appreciation for the way that life insurance can create stability for you, for your family, and even for your business. It can even help you build one of the largest organizations in the world, or even the theme park. Even the theme park. Walt Disney, just a little food for thought. Walt Disney started his theme park with the money that he had in his life insurance policy that he was able to borrow from his one of his life insurance policies because he was going around going to these different banks trying to get a loan so that he can, get his theme park off the ground, get it going and stuff like that. But they didn't want to hear anything about a duck or or a rabbit. And now it's one of the world's most iconic places. The man dream came true. So it created a more complete picture of wealth and prosperity for me that I can finally see that I didn't see at first. So obviously, quickly, I mean, so I'm passionate about it, okay? I'm passionate about helping people transform the way that they think about money and create that stability so that they can live the life that they desire. Okay. Now, just to tell you guys where I'm from, I'm originally from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi, native here to Mississippi. I've been married for 3 years, part of Kappa Kappa Psi National Honorary Band Fraternity. And I can also play every saxophone. I could play the soprano saxophone. I could play the alto saxophone. I could play the bass saxophone. I could play I just play saxophones, okay? And the French horn. Like if you guys know about the curly French horn, the one that they'll play in like an ensemble, like an orchestra setting, I can play that. And in a marching band version, I play the mellow. Okay. I'm a music lover. If you guys don't know about that, I'm a music lover. Okay. I practice what I preach. I practice what I preach. So everything that you will learn is something that I tested and I tried it for myself. And I did the results, had the pros and the cons, and had the most of the, I went through all the feelings and emotions of doing it. Okay. So I'm just excited a little bit, seriously, to share some of my knowledge and experiences with you guys today. Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, the name of my business is Seven Band Incorporated, which is a financial marketing organization. Okay. We market financial products on behalf of other insurance companies. Okay. We market their products. Okay. Our business model, the model of our business that we have, it allows us to offer a unique design on what our customers value that allow our clients to utilize their policy for things such as emergency funds, for pension, or business funding. Our clients, they like it. Okay. They get the minimum death benefit to reduce the cost and fees, either fund or max fund their policy. They can just normally fund it how they regularly want to do it, or if they want to max fund it for better growth opportunity, they can. But by doing it like that, allowing the client to do it like that, um, reduces the agent's commissions. The agents don't get as much commission as they would doing it this way. Okay. Um, our clients like it that way because their money can grow way more faster, risk free with a more optimized design than more of an average design that you will probably see. If you go and get a life insurance policy, just go out and get a regular life insurance policy, and the agent might not break it down to you exactly what it is, might not show you certain things. We're more transparent about that on this side. Okay. And our clients also can access their money tax free without affecting the growth of the policy via electronic transfer, ACH, or a wire transfer. So businesses get paid based off the size of the problem that they solve. Now, Seven Band Incorporated is solving three major business problems, what three major problems in our community today. The first one is distribution. Y'all, I don't resemble the typical agent in my industry. Okay, look at me. That means I have access to a market that the average agent has a hard time getting to. Okay, he's gonna have a little double time to try to get over here to this market. Okay, so I'm able to teach people who look and act just like me, who look, talk, and act like me about money, about finances, about stability. Whether you're a woman, whether you're a Gen Z, whether you're a millennial, you're able to get the same education that another social class of individuals are getting. Okay, that's the first problem that we're solving. Now, the second one here, guys, is going to be financial literacy. I already said it. We don't learn how money work in America. I already said it. We don't learn about that stuff in school, y'all. We don't learn about that stuff in college. And unfortunately, most of us, we only don't learn about it at home. I already said it. So what happens as a result of us not knowing that stuff? What happens? We're going to make mistakes in our 20s and 30s with bad money advice. We're going to put our money in certain places, lose our money, be investing in this money all into this opportunity, thinking, oh, that's the next big thing, and losing money all over again. Right? And we're going to try to recover in our 40s because we're probably going to start having kids later on. Try to recover in our 40s just to get back on track in time for retirement because we want to retire. People, we start thinking like, oh, snap, we're 40 years old. We got our kids now, and we got to really start thinking about retirement. But that's not the best wisdom. But this is all we know because we don't be learning about money or finances. But Seven Bank Incorporated teaches financial literacy. We even teach tax exemption codes for life insurance, for example, like 7702, 101A, 72E, how they help with tax-free growth on proceeds in a life insurance policy. Portfolios, they help you protect your hard-earned money from taxes and inflation. What's the infinite banking concept? How to become your own banker. See, these are financial terms that we don't need to be hearing daily that we talk about and we teach our clients here at Seven Band Incorporated. That's what we do. Now, the last thing that we teach about is business, simple business. Like, I don't care how old you are in America today. You can be 24, you can be 25, you can be 23, you can be 36. And if you're saying, Malik, I want to open up a business, man, I'm gonna say, okay, cool. That's what a lot of other people was doing too. But the first thing I'm gonna let you know is that you're gonna have to attract two of the largest generations. You're gonna have to attract two of them. They're called the Gen Zs and they're called the millennials. And they don't want to work like the other generation. They don't want to work for no 40 years, all the way for 40 to 50 years for a 401k or a pension that's probably not going to really be there to benefit them in retirement. They want to travel. They want to go out, not have to really check that bank account when they go out. They want to live their best life on an island in St. Martin. You get what I'm saying? Or they want to go to Africa. They want to build a home on their own land in Africa. And they want to get paid what they're worth and have an impact on their community and the world. And the last I checked, that's hard to do, y'all, behind a desk or a kiosk. It's going to require some networking. It's going to require some businesses. So who's teaching us how to network and how to build a business without being in millions of dollars in debt? No one. Really? No one, right? So if you're wondering, okay, cool. Malik, you made you a great introduction. Like, how is your business solving these problems, bro? So one of the first concepts we teach here at Seven Man Incorporated is the money game. Three ways the money grows. Okay. I don't care how little or how much you have in your wallet. This is not the guess what's in your wallet type thing. This is not that. Your money is growing three ways. It's either growing fixed, variable, or index. This is the very first concept that I learned about money. So there's pros and cons to each way money grows. And when it works right, there's going to be a plus. If not, there'll be a minus because you're going to see it. Okay. So the first one is going to be called fixed. This is going to be your bank account, checkings account, savings account. Some of you guys out here in the audience, I know you guys familiar with CDs, credited deposits, certificate of deposit. You know, that account you put your money in where you earn some interest in like 3 to 6 months or something like that. CDs. And also, I know some guys out here in the audience, some people out here in the audience got their shoebox that some people have up under the bed or they got their shoebox in their closet. Okay. I used to be one of those guys. So look, the plus to putting your money in a shoebox or putting your money in a bank account is that it's safe. The bank is backed by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, by the FDIC, for up to $250,000. That's $250,000 that you got in the bank is safe. Your money's safe. But keeping your money there is not good for the long term. That money, as we already probably know, didn't grow as much as we probably already know, don't grow as much. It only grows when we get paid from our paycheck or from a side hustle that we doing. That's gonna make that bank account grow up. Okay, which you probably selling some on the side or whatever. That's the only way that bank account can grow up. So sitting money there slows the growth on your money from anywhere between 0 to 1%. Okay. And one of the biggest challenges that you face in store your money in the bank for a long period of time is called inflation, which means you're actually losing money by saving it in the bank account for a long term. Now, looking at a growth chart, I'm a visual person. I'm a visual learner. I like to see the numbers and show me a growth chart. All right. Now, looking at a growth chart, here's how money looks growing inside, growing slowly over time. Not the best place to actually keep money and grow money for the long term. But for a lot of us starting out, coming into the world, that's all we know. That's all that we know. Right. Then you got the second one here in the middle. This is your variable account. And most clients that I speak with, some of my friends, some of my family members, they own a variable account. Okay. They have a 401k. Some have cryptocurrencies. They buy individual stocks through Robinhood. They do mutual funds or an IRA or IRA. Now they great to have. Okay. I'm not knocking it. They're great to have because the plus to owning your own rental property, you do real estate, or having some stocks in Apple or having a 401k or IRA is you can experience some growth on your money. You can see your money go up. That's good. I like to see that. Don't you? Now, the downside to sometimes owning real estate that they just don't be talking about or having the stocks or having that 401k that they don't be saying is what go up at some point, it's going to come back down. So you're putting your money at risk and you can lose all or a portion of your money in a variable account. I bet you didn't know that. But the real question is though, how much money can you afford to lose? Seriously. And most people I speak with, they say none. Malik, I can't afford to lose none of my money, man. I got my family here. I got responsibilities here. I got to pay this. I got to pay that. Some of them, they really can't afford to lose none. Now, looking at a growth chart again, here is how money looks when it jumps up and down over time. At some point, you making money. We like that. And then you losing money. You're making money and you losing money. You just riding the roller coaster, going up and down, panicking, feeling relieved and panicking, feeling relieved and panicking. Like at some point, you're gonna want to get off the ride. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the best place for some people. Maybe you like the roller coaster ride, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all. My stomach can't take that stuff. Okay, I couldn't. No, no. It starts feeling all woozy at some point. Look, I'm tired of going up and down, up and down, up and down. Come on, now I need something to be smooth. Like, I need a smooth ride. I'm tired of that. So that's gonna lead me to the last one here, which is index. Now, index is not as popular as a fixed account or a variable account. Most people never really even heard of it, but it's called annuities and it's called indexed universal life insurance policies, IULs. These are both insurance products. And if you do not know, I'm gonna tell you guys right now. I'm telling you now if you don't know. Insurance has a disposition to not lose value. Okay. So the plus is pretty obvious. It's absolutely safe. Okay. But what's the catch? The account is either capped or uncapped. Okay. I'll explain that later. But the account is either capped at a certain number, and sometimes they're uncapped where there is just not a cap. Now, see, there's this saying there's two types of people in this world: those that earn interest, those that pay an interest. Now, I'm going to use this simple example here of 0 to 9% interest that you could possibly earn in your index account. Now, what that means is you don't get below zero, but you won't go above 9%. That's the ceiling, that's the limit. Your cap is 9 and your floor is 0. So you floating in the middle. You floating. Your feet is off the ground. See, you can walk on water just by not looking down at your feet, but by looking up at your father. Okay. Now, when I say index, I mean your policy is linked to the growth of one of the indices. And one famous one is called the S&P 500, your Standards and Poor. Think of it like one huge cup. And think of it like one huge cup with some of your most popular stocks from American Express to Microsoft to Apple to Tesla, Amazon, Netflix, all these big name brands that we be hearing in one big cup. And the S&P 500 is going to measure the growth of all of them. Okay. So let's imagine you said, Malik, I want to grow some money tied to the performance of Walmart, bro. I want to tie some money. I want to grow. I want to tie some of my money tied to the performance of Coca-Cola, sir. These big brands. See, you can do that here with index accounts. That's something that they're not going to tell you. So let's say the S&P 500, after measuring all these stocks, 1 year was up 20%. A pretty good solid year. Knowing that your IUL is linked to it, you now got 9% interest that would be credited to your IUL account. If you guys, if you, and if also, if you guys ever if you haven't watched my previous, one of my videos, I did a video on high yield savings accounts. High yield savings accounts are accounts where you can earn interest on your money while you're sitting it there. It'd be equal to that. I'll put a link to that up here as well. Okay. Now the downside is you capped only at 9%. That's way better than the bank, right? Now let's say the following year the market was up 8%. You're going to experience 8% interest that's going to be credited to your IUL that year, that 1 year. So let's say we had what happened back in 2008, right? When them subprime loans caused the housing market to crash back then. Some of you guys remember, some of you guys probably don't remember. And the market was down negative 38%. You will lose nothing, zero, zip. You don't lose money in the index. You just don't gain any growth that year. Now let's see how it looks when the market is up and you're up. Okay. Here's a growth chart. When the markets are up, you're up. When the markets are down, you're flat. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're flat. Some people call this the stairway to heaven. You can call it what you want to call it. I just call it the stairway to heaven too. Because hey, it compounds the interest over time. Okay. It's compounding interest over time. So you're locking your growth in over time and you're keeping your principal, the money safe. So looking at all three ways that money grows, if you had an opportunity to grow your money for your family's future, for your next down payment for a house, to invest into real estate, to invest in that business, to invest for your college, for your kids, retirement plans, trust fund, just whatever it may be. Where would you put most of your money for the long term? And most people say the bank, some say 401k or their IRA, their IRA. Now, most of my clients, they say index. Now, me personally, to be honest with you guys, I believe in all three because you got to have that financial wealth pyramid going on. You got to have that foundation. Okay, I also did a video on the wealth pyramid. Got to have that financial foundation, solid base. So that's why I believe in all three. Now, if someone say, put all your eggs in one basket, I'm going to say, hey, look, be careful of that guy over there. I don't know what he don't, I don't know what he got going. So when it comes to fixed accounts, we enjoy the safety, y'all. We work hard for our money, and nobody wants to lose money because of inflation. Okay. We also don't like to keep our money there for the long term. We only get low growth on that money. So what should we put in our bank accounts? I always say this to my friends. I say, hey, y'all, we need to have anywhere between 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. Like whatever your bills are, I'm talking groceries, rent, light, gas bill, if you're paying gas bill, water, your monthly expenses, add all that up times three. That's what you want to have in your bank just in case of an emergency, just in case of a layoff. I remember I got laid off before. It took us about 2, 3 months to get back right because a financial, we didn't have a financial base. We didn't have an emergency fund in place. We didn't have 3 to 6 months of our expenses in place. So anything can happen. Layoff can happen. You can lose your job. Something can happen to you. Medical things can happen to you. Something can happen to your car. Anything. So that emergency fund is very important. Now, when it comes to a variable account, we enjoy the growth of our 401k. Some of you guys may do crypto. Okay. Some of you guys do mutual funds and stocks, but we don't like losing money. So if you're close to retirement door, think about this. If you're close to retirement door and you're like, okay, you're 59, 58 years old, you lose half your money for retirement. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's the stock market. Some having the stock market that thing done crashed again, -45. And you got a 401k and you got an IRA. You ain't gonna have that money no more. Because that 401k is tied to the stock market. That IRA is tied to the stock market. So whatever the stock market is gonna do, your 401k, your IRA is gonna reflect it too. You're gonna have to work 5 more years. As grim as it sounds, you're gonna have to work some more because you don't have enough money to financially live your life out comfortably. All right. Now, index account, money is safe, downside protection. You have the best in both worlds over here. So there's this, you have the best of both worlds over here. Now look, there's this guy. It's actually a couple guys. Doug Andrew, Warren Buffett, Robert Kiyosaki, Brian Rose, some of those guys. And I'm gonna name one of them. I'm gonna talk about one of them. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, he's a financial guru. And have you ever read any of his books? Ever read any of his articles back in the day? Some of his old stuff. You will know that he had two rules when it comes to money. Rule number one, just don't lose money. Okay. Makes sense. Rule number two is don't forget rule number one. If you're like me, growing money, if you're like me growing up, if you was like me growing up, whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you're in the middle, whatever, most of us we really not even really talk about money, about money this way. So let's imagine, okay, just being honest, we was not taught about how money works this way. So there's this. So let's talk about. So okay, so let's imagine we do got some money. Okay, good job get paid. We get the job paying us real good. We can keep our bills paid. We have some residual income. We got us a side hustle that's bringing in some money, bringing in about $10,000 a month, and we always having some money, right? So let's imagine we had some money. We had like $10,000 right now. No, let's say we had about 50, about 100,000, and we only want to take 10,000. So let's say we take 10,000, we got $10,000 right now. And we put that $10,000 in an IUL and the market crash, negative 38%. You lose nothing. You still gonna have your $10,000. But if the market went up 9%, remember I told you guys there's two type of people in this world. That's this old saying. There's two type of people in this world. Those that's what earning interest and those that paying interest. So let's say that when the market went up 9%, that $10,000 would have gained an extra $900 just by placing that money there. Okay. And so we placed that $10,000 there in the stock market. So now we got $10,900. But look, that's because we placed it over there. Now, if we placed that $10,000 in the stock market and that stock market dropped down negative 38%, we wouldn't have no $10,900. We would have lost money. We would have about $6,200. And whatever the market drops, it takes twice as much growth just to get back to what we lost. So you can have somebody that when the market went down, they stayed at they 10,000. Yours dropped to 6,200. When the market started going up again, they went up to 10,000, 2,900. You just now going up. You're gonna be behind the curve. You can be behind the ball. So that's why in most cases, not losing money got to be more important than just making money. So that's the first concept that I've learned. That's the first concept that I learned. Scalded through ways to money grows. And after you learn about where to place your money, the financial foundation here, the next thing is to know, all right, uh, where am I getting taxed at? Right? We need to learn about taxes because we don't learn about taxes neither. Right? We don't learn about the taxes at all. So now we move on into the taxes. So there's three types of income that we pay taxes on. Okay. Once we know them, we can be aware and we can move accordingly. You got earned income. Earned income, which is our salary, which is our salaries and wages. Then you got passive income. Passive income will be more like work that you don't have to actually be there physically to do it. That's like your real estate, your Airbnb, you're leasing out apartment buildings, you're renting out homes, stuff like that. Then you got portfolio income. This is where people that dabs into mutual funds, right? Interest, dividends, things like that. So most people, they get tricked into deferring their taxes, deferring up until retirement with a 401k or IRA. Okay. Because that's what we do with those 401ks and IRAs. We're deferring taxes. Okay. And when retirement comes around, you're paying a lot more in taxes when you start to take money from your 401k or your IRA during retirement years because the RDMs will be set in, the required minimum distribution. You're going to be required to withdraw money from that 401k or that IRA. It's going to be, you're obligated to require, to borrow money from it, to take that money around that time. And the tax brackets as well. You could be in a different tax bracket. So all of that play in effect. So how do we transfer a lot of our money so that we can pay the least in taxes? And what I've learned from being around my colleagues, being around the network I've been around, shaking hands with the billionaires, shaking hands with the millionaires, actually going to networking events, Baltimore, Maryland, going to the ones in Washington, D.C., Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, Las Vegas. What I learned from them is a way to teach and transform other people's perspective on money and teach them concepts, strategies, show them tools that they can use to combat these things so that more and more of their income is not earned income. It's not passive income. It's not portfolio income. It's tax free. So I'm going to talk about that. So I'm going to talk about how you can do that. Okay. So I'm going to start with the root chakra. The root chakra, which contains energy, stability, comfort, and safety. It's also the knowledge foundation and is where we add on and is where we're going to add on to the highest peak. All right. Now, if you guys don't know right now by now, Uncle Sam, he wants some of your money. Okay. He wants some of your money when you earn it. He wants some of your money when you save it. He wants some of your money when you invest it. That man wants some of your money when you spend it. That man also wants some of your money when you die. Okay. So why should we know about taxes? Obviously, we see this. This is why we should know about taxes and where we getting taxed at. Because Uncle Sam, he taxes everywhere. And we don't learn about how money work in America. Not in school, not in high school, and unfortunately, most of us don't even learn at home. So what happens? We're going to make mistakes in our 20s and our 30s with bad money advice and try to recover in our 40s to get back on track in time for retirement. Not the best wisdom, but that's just all we know. See, when I got married, I started having more responsibilities as a married man. We needed more money, more real money. So I started reading, taking notes, learning all that I can about the taxes, about the life insurance, about the business, about all of that. What tax exemption codes are like 7702, 101A, 72E, and how they help with tax-free growth on our hard-earned money. How can you protect your hard-earned money from taxes and inflation? The infinite banker concept, how to become your own banker. I wanted to win and I wanted to do it and I am doing it, but banker, I want to win. And I'm doing it for my family and for my future kids. So this is what I know. Okay. We never learn how to avoid being taxed on all these places. Earned, saving it, investing it, spending it. That we never, you know what I'm saying, learn how to avoid this. We just accept what it was and we just went along with the taxing. But no, the answer is within the books. Okay. Everybody knows that no matter how hard you work, you're always going to get hit with the federal and state income tax, Social Security and Medicare, and the average resident in Mississippi, that net amount really don't be enough to live off of. If you Google it right now, the minimum wage in some of these places is like 7.25. I know some of them went up, but just think about it. You have just enough to get by until the next 2 weeks or so to feed your family, buy gas, groceries, pay that rent, pay that light bill, pay that Wi-Fi bill, pay that phone bill, and any other fun things you be wanting to do on the weekend. You know, just the basics living. These three powerful life changes, these three powerful life-changing codes that I'm about to teach you, 7702, 101A, 72E, it's going to help you because at some point you're going to know how to keep your money protected. You're going to be very wise. Okay. And it's a little bit more simple than people may think it is. So I'm gonna make it very simple. Now I learned and I read about section 72E, 7702, and 101A of the Internal Revenue Code. Now, in a nutshell, this is where your money, if you have it in an IUL, an index account, in an index universal life insurance policy, or a life insurance policy, is protected from taxes. Okay. Code 72E, that grants you access, okay, to accumulate money in your IUL tax free. That code allows that money in that policy to grow tax free because of this code right here. This is what that code says that you're obligated to do. The code 7702 grants you the power to access your money during retirement or even earlier than that, tax free. Because you know, if you're trying to take money out of your 401k or your IRA, you got to be at least 59 and a half, or you get hit with a tax on taking that money out. Okay. And then you got code 101A. That right there, that's your bread and butter. That's going to grant you the power that when you die, the death benefit transfers tax free. You have to comply with these three codes I just shared with you. Okay. Now this is going to be how you can protect your income from taxes. So, all right, example, simulation. Let's say you just got done, you working your job, you get paid every 2 weeks. And like you just got done listening to this, you don't want to put your money in your bank. You already know your bank is treating it how you treating you. And you've been hearing about high yield savings accounts. So you're like, okay, let's go with high yield savings accounts because you remember hearing Malik say there's two type of people in this world. Those that's earning interest and those that's paying it. You don't want to be the one that's paying interest all the time when you get to borrow money. You paying all that high interest on money. You want to be able to earn it at a high rate, right? So you moving your money from having it in a traditional bank account, it's still there, but you're transferring some of that money over to your high yield savings account. Boom. Cool. But you're still getting taxed because you get taxed on some of the interest that's been added to your high yield savings account. Hey, Uncle Sam is real good at it. But what you do is you take it and you move it into this life insurance policy where it's under these codes right here so that it's growing tax free. The more you know. Okay. Because look, that's what it's going to take when you're on your way to becoming financially free. That's all I'm saying. Okay. You got to know the code. Got to know the code. Now that we know the code, now that we know that life insurance is an option that we can choose to grow our money tax free as long as we just comply with TEFRA, these tax codes. And if you haven't checked out that video, I suggest you guys go check out that video as well. There are three types of insurance policies out there. Okay. Now that you know about it, now you jump over. Now you like, okay, I want to go ahead and look at the life insurance policies. What I'm looking at. What you got? So there's three types of life insurance policies out there. You got a term policy, okay, which is short, lasts anywhere between 10 to 30 years. Once that term is done, that policy is done. You have that policy no more. It's not one of the policies that's going to last forever for the rest of your life. That's not the one. Okay. The second one you got is whole life policy. It is what it say it is. Whole life. It's a permanent type of policy. It grows cash value. Cash value is money that you can access within the policy. And it also grows dividends. Whatever the insurance company does real good, they pay out dividends as well. Okay. For you guys that's familiar with the mutual funds, how some companies pay out dividends as well. Well, some of these policies do the same thing. Then we have index universal life. Okay. It's a permanent policy as well, similar to the whole life. The only difference between the whole life policy and the IUL is the growth potential. Okay. Because the the growth potential in the IUL is attached to an index like the S&P 500, which gives you more growth potential than the whole life would. All right. That's the difference between the two. So I'm going to break down each one and what they are. And you as the owner, because you're going to be the one that owns this policy, you're going to decide what's best for you. Okay. So when you hear the word term, I want you to think of the word short immediately. Term short. Just think of it immediately. Term insurance lasts anywhere from 10 to 30 years. Okay. When most individuals out there hear about life insurance, no one wants to hear about it. They close their ears off, but they don't know what you know. They don't know what you just learned. And many people believe that they're just paying another monthly bill anyway. All they're doing is paying money for a death benefit that's just going to pay out for their family when they pass on. While the cost of living is going up, rent, gas, groceries, they policies start to feel like a whole other bill that they got. Our mindset didn't shift it. It's not a tax-free tool. This is a way I can date. Our mind isn't thinking that this is a way I can save some money. I can save money in this policy, or I can save money in a life insurance policy. Our mindset hasn't shifted that way. This is a way that I can grow money tax free. I can also access my money tax free, and it transfers tax free. Nothing in the Internal Revenue Code, bro. Nothing. It does that. It's like a sacred cash cow. It's like a sacred cash cow. Okay. And like, we don't think that what we think about is, we don't think about that. What we think about is that our need for finances starts to become a greater need than our need for life insurance. We need finances. What we need this life insurance policy for? Our mindset didn't change to have it as an emergency fund. You get what I'm saying? You see. But once our mindset change and we educate ourselves a little bit more on the benefits of life insurance, that's what I actually did. I recommend you guys check out this book. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. It's called The Infinite Banking Concept by Nelson Nash. You will find out that this man, Nelson Nash, had about 30 policies on him. 30 life insurance policies on him and his family members. And them policies took care of almost anything in his life. Okay? Took care of the rent, took care of the bills, took care of the business, took care of everything. Read that book. It's a cool book because it starts with imagination. So I hope you all still have that little dream machine going in your head, still alive. Cause yeah. Now the next one we have here is the whole life insurance. Reading that book, The Infinite Banking Concept by Nelson Nash, led me to learning about the whole life policy. Now, a whole life policy that's a permanent policy, lasts forever, 10 to 20 years, paid up. This type of policy builds cash value over time by putting a little more into the policy from time to time. And you're probably thinking now, why would I want to put more money in my policy other than my regular monthly payments? Why? It's about that mindset. It's because you read The Infinite Banking Concept by Nelson Nash. Your mindset changed. You adopted a new strategy. You got a new skill. Your brain just got another wrinkle in it. You now know a financial secret that no banker, no CEO, no manager is going to tell you this. Okay? Is that you can grow your money tax free just by complying with three codes of the Internal Revenue Code: 72E, 7702, 101A, which grants you the power to now know how to grow your money tax free, access your money tax free, and the death benefit transfers tax free. Speaking with many of my clients, I learned that many people, literally, a lot of people, already have whole life policies, but some of them are just unaware of how to even access the cash value features or the dividends that's inside their policy for business expenses or to put that on their house, medical expenses, just whatever it may be. Some just really are unaware that they have money already sitting there, or they probably you know. So the third type of insurance is called Index Universal Life. It's a permanent policy as well. Some people call it the retirement hack. Some call it the miracle fund. Some call it the miracle fund, or some call it the laser fund. But I call it the American money tree. See, I remember my parents used to say, son, money don't grow on trees. Okay? Money don't grow on trees. But after I educated myself on this product, I actually grow on trees. I look at my parents in their face right now and say, Mama, look, money do grow on trees. But after I educated myself on this product, it actually does. Okay. It actually does. Imagine, because I remember speaking with my grandmama about this, and she used to tell me, she used to be like, Malik, if me and your granddad had planted an apple seed back there, an apple tree back there, or orange tree or anything like that, we would have been having you and eat some apples right now, you know? But that was almost like what, 30, 40 years ago. So imagine you planted an apple seed and you now 66 years old. You now have an apple tree for generations to generations, a tree always producing apples. And what if it produced money? You never outlived your money from generations to generations, even after you gone, because of some choice, because of some strategy, because of something you did differently 30, 40 years ago. That's powerful. That's powerful. In other words, you and your family are never without money ever again. Just imagine that. You don't go asking for handouts for nothing. You, your family got their own finances together and they borrow from their own family bank. Wow. An IUL is a flexible premium type of policy. You're not required to make any payments in any given year outside of whatever the minimum requirements might be. You're not required to make any payments in any year outside of whatever the minimum requirements might be at the beginning of the policy and later on in the policy. So if you want to max fund your policy, transfer some of your like about $10,000 out of your savings or something into one of the policies and keep some in your savings too. Just diversify. Hey, you can just keep it at the minimum. You ain't got to fund it, max fund it. You don't have to. So as long as there's enough money to cover the expenses each year, The policy is flexible. You don't have to put money in there. Okay. You don't have to put money in there. Okay. So now I'm transitioning over into now that you know the three different types of life insurance policies, which is term, whole life, IUL. Now that you know how money grows, where you're getting taxed at, how to grow your money without being taxed, diversifying your money, your portfolio. Hmm. Now is how do I get one of these IULs? How can I start that? Like, how can I start funding this policy? I got my policy, guys. I've been having my policy for about 2 years so far. And it's more so like my emergency fund. Okay. I don't touch it unless I need to touch it. That's all I'll say. So with funding it, if you're were to so when it comes to funding an IUL, how do you start it? So when it comes to funding it, these are the different there's three phases to funding an IUL. So if you were so and I'm going to use the scenario of an apartment building. Okay, I'm going to use an apartment building scenario on how you can fund an IUL. So if you were to own a 5-story apartment building, the goal would to be to rent out all 5 floors in order to maximize the profits and minimize the expenses. Okay. But if only the first floor was rented out and the remaining floors were left vacant, cost will remain extremely high and it's going to eat away your profits. A max funded insurance policy is similar. Okay. To maximize your returns and to minimize your expenses, fill up your policy with maximum planned premiums. This is just like renting out all available spaces. This can be accomplished in as few as 5 years to be compliant with the IRS guidelines. And at the end of the contribution phase, your life insurance contract is usually about 1/5 funded, not all the way full. Okay. So next comes the accumulation phase. Filling the policy up, like I said before, it's like renting out the additional floors in the apartment building that you own. So when your building is completely leased out, your building is ready for profits. Okay. Then there comes phase three, profits and distribution. That's when you're going to work with me because I'm your agent, your business consultant, and asset protection specialist to decide when you want to take out a loan. We're going to discuss how often, how much you want to borrow from your cash value, and the repayment options. You're not obligated to repay anything, but however, your policy's cash value will continue to grow through compound interest. Except when it's like the death benefit, it'll just minus whatever you didn't pay back into it. Policies that are well managed by a trusted specialist can become very, very inexpensive, especially when it's optimally designed. And if you met with any IUL agent and they don't break this down to you, then I second guess that agent too. Okay. I second guess his specialty if he's really specialized in teaching you in this product. Okay. So when I meet with my clients, I help them understand what they're looking at on the illustration. The first thing to be aware of is these numbers are annual values, which means they're the value if you multiply monthly payments by 12. So if this is 12,000, just divide 12,000, which is $1,000. So this is an example of $1,000 per month going into an IUL, going into an index account. Okay. First, you have the age, which shows your current age. Next is the end of policy year, which is one, the premium overlay, which is the payment you pay into the policy on an annual basis. So this would be $1,000 per month times 12, which results in the premium outlay of 12,000. Does that make sense? On to the next one. Total charges, pretty much the cost of insurance, per unit policy charge, and administration fees. Depending on the type of design, it's going to play a significant part in the total charges and the fees, depending on the design. Next is the accumulation phase, which shows $10,447. So each year, month by month, the expenses comes out of your accumulation value and cash value to pay for the policy fees. But the payment and growth offsets the fees. So you don't really become so it don't re- so they so it don't really bec so the fees don't really become a problem if the policy is designed properly. Now, most agents out there aren't specializing these things properly, and they're not specialists. So make sure if you have a policy and you want it to be checked out, bring it to me. I can analyze it for you. I can see if it was if it's ideal or if it's you need to just take it back and probably get a different design. Okay. Next is the cash value, which is the money that you can access to borrow from your policy. There's a charge there as well when you borrow money from your policy. Each insurance company is different, and after a certain amount of time, that surrender charge goes away. And you can opt waive the surrender charges as well. Then there's a death benefit, which we already know passes on tax free due to code 101A. Okay. So this is how it works. If you're putting money in, so if you're putting in 12,000 a year, 4% goes to load fee, leaving you with $11,040 going into your policy. Little more than half of what you put in is going towards your cash value. So if you're able to put more money in, more would turn into cash value. And when the market is up, you're going to get credited for that. While we like to refer to these as investments, it can be a good, safe place to have some money, to have some of your money. So that your 401k or retirement account or somewhere, so you have 401k or retirement accounts or somewhere you have investments. But those are things that can go up and down. Remember, those are like variable accounts. At least this would not go up and down based on the market returns. So it can go up on the market returns, but it can go up. So the only thing that we are worrying about is, are we getting enough money into it to cover the expenses and make sure that when we do get those upsides, it makes up for all the expenses? Because that's what we want to see ultimately. We want to see this outpace the expenses. So when you're putting money in at the beginning, the expenses are a big portion of what you're putting in. But down the road, those expenses become a smaller and smaller percentage of your overall cash value because the expenses stayed about the same, but the cash value is growing.